we are, guys. As our cheesy selves as normal, Mark, Sarah, we have a rad guest today. Mark,
Rad.
do you
I
use
don't use
rad,
the word
Navi, or am I
rad,
just
no.
truly just aging myself right now?
I've heard it a lot, but I've never used it myself.
Yeah, that's
Oh
something
my
right
God,
there.
I
I've
can't.
heard other people say it,
I'm
but
Yeah,
done. I'm
I've
just
never.
done.
it's okay though. I'll
I'm
take
in
it.
the old faux group. Do I have my AARP card yet? Do you guys have AARP in
I don't.
Canada?
No, we do not.
But you
You
know
know
what
what
it
you're
is?
talking about, though. We get enough American commercials to know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Oh my
heard of
God, then
it,
I'm
but
going
don't
for
know.
my senior citizen discount at the restaurant. So I want to like kind of open up and Mark jump in just to tell us who you were because I don't want to just Navi is Navi, man. I don't want this to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was working in IT. I consider myself to be like a nerd, or I've always been really drawn towards like technology and stuff like that. So that's always been my passion. So, I took it professionally as well. And I've always been like, a calm, kind of composed person, and people have said that. And when you mentioned like, or asked me if I was an old soul, I was like, I think so, because people sort of said I give off that vibe a little bit. And but yeah, like my passion was always technology, and writing was a big part of my life too, which I still try to do as much as I can. But a very active person before. I really enjoyed running. I used to run a lot, biking, going to the gym. Wrestling was a big part of my life for some time, and then after going to college and stuff, it sort of slowed down a bit. Try to focus more on like work and school. But yeah, very active person, very quiet, calm, composed person, and I'm still mostly the same, but I've grown a lot since.
Definitely shows. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely shows. You
yeah.
said you were in like a small town. Please enlighten me. Do you want to share where you're at? Or is it secret?
No, no, it's fine. It's Cambridge, Ontario. I'm not sure if it's near Kitchener-Waterloo. Not like super small, but like compared to like, the GTA and like Toronto, stuff like that. And I'm sort of on the outskirts of Cambridge, so mostly surrounded by like farmland and stuff. So very quiet, which I do prefer rather than the noisy city. And I've been in this area my whole life ever since coming to Canada. First used to live in Waterloo. And back when I used to live in Waterloo, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. It's become a lot more like developed, and they've added a lot more things.
So, needless to say, it sounds like you enjoy it. Don't plan on.
Yeah, I don't like I like going to cities for like a day just to visit and stuff, but to settle down, I would always prefer like a small, quiet town or smaller city.
Completely agree there. So
I'm like on 27 acres of quiet, but I'm like 15 minutes from our town. It's not huge, but enough to like go to the store and do all the things. But I come from city, and I'm like, wow, I quite enjoy the peace.
Yeah. I think like as you get older, it's more you, I think. You get to learn a lot more about yourself because there's not less distractions and stuff around.
And you grow to appreciate it too. When you're younger, you're like, I need to get out.
So we got a little kind of glimpse into previous, and then what happened?
So it was in 2021. I traveled to the UK. I was there for about like 10, 11 days, and it was during COVID time as well. I got sick while I was there, but not COVID related. I got a bunch of COVID tests done because when you're traveling back then, you had to get a test done before you leave, when you land, while you're there. So it wasn't COVID related, but I just had like flu symptoms. I had a fever for a day and a sore throat, but I was fine after 3 days. I was healthy, I guess. And then, I stayed there for like 10 days. And then the day after I came back home is when I woke up and I couldn't move. I was paralyzed, and I guess that was the trigger, but it was a delayed onset because GBS, or Guillain-Barre syndrome, it's an autoimmune condition and a neurological condition. So whatever, I'm not sure if it was like a viral or bacterial infection, but most times it's caused by like a stomach bug. So I think it was related to that. And yeah, so my immune system attacked my nervous system, which caused the paralysis, and it all happened while I was asleep. So I didn't really notice anything happening until I woke up, and I couldn't move. So it was very unexpected, but I guess it was related to whatever I caught while I was over in the UK. So random.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. So you just woke
You,
up, and
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, like I couldn't move my legs at all. I could move my arms a little bit, but not enough to like push myself up or anything. So I was just laying there and I wasn't sure what was happening. I called my mom. Luckily, it was a weekend, so everybody was at home, which I'm very blessed about, because if it was anywhere else, or If nobody was there, then it could have been a different situation. But I was able to use Siri to call my mom, and then the rest of my family came to check out what was happening. Nobody was sure, but it was a lot of panic in that moment because it was just completely out of nowhere. Yeah, ended up going to the hospital, and then 11 months in the hospital after that. It was a tough time during COVID too, so it made it a little bit more difficult.
Wow. The layers of waking up to a completely new world in seconds and then
Hmm.
top it with COVID and
Yeah.
probably not having your inner circle there. I mean, I'm sure did they let anybody in? One or nobody?
Not in the beginning for a few months. It was just through like FaceTime, Zoom calls, like once or twice a day. And then eventually they started opening up the hospitals to one visitor. So it was only my brother that was coming because he was the only one that could speak English properly if he needed to talk to the doctors or nurses. It was only my brother for a bit. He came a couple times a week for like 1 hour, and it wasn't enough because it was like I was excited for that 1 hour to come, and then it went by super quick, and I was like, wow, now to wait like a few more days. And I was also on the ventilator at the time, so I couldn't actually talk, and it was just sort of like trying to communicate but not really being able to. I was mouthing my words, and it's very hard for people to read your mouth and try to figure out what you're saying. So even over the video calls, I couldn't actually talk, so they were just sort of asking me questions and stuff, and I was just trying to stick with yes or no answers because I could move my head yes or no, but I couldn't really like communicate proper sentences or anything. So it was that isolation that really made it a lot more difficult than it was. Luckily, it was for a few months and then got better after that.
Was there support for you, obviously outside of family, but within the hospital to really kind of step in? Because as we all know, you need that, especially you're a young man and you just got hit out of the blue and then you don't have anybody to just rely on, talk to, let alone you can't talk and you probably just going through so many emotions in your own head. How was the hospital supportive for you in that space?
So they did have a lot of like, social workers would come by and ask if I wanted to like, talk to them or just have them around for a bit. They had like the spiritual kind of, I forget what they're called, but like the spiritual, I guess, counselors or something like that, where they would come in and try to like talk more about the spiritual side of things, if that helped at all. So I did have people like that around, but most of the time it was just with the nurses. So, obviously the nurses are there the whole day in and out of the room. If you ever need anything, they're always there. So I did get a lot of support from the nurses, the personal support workers, which I really do appreciate. But they're busy, so they can't stay there the whole time. But for the short moments that they were in the room, it was always nice. And even with the kind of communication barrier with the ventilator and stuff, they did their best to try to figure out what I was trying to get across. And eventually, we did sort of come up with a system where I think it was a speech language therapist that kind of made almost a book, but with sort of letters. So the nurses would point at things to kind of figure out what I was trying to say. So spelling things out, which it was a long process, but it was a little bit easier than just sort of having to figure out what I was saying by like me mouthing the words. So that was I think that was a game changer in that moment. And they would have pictures in there if I needed help with a specific task. They would point at it and I would just nod yes or no. So little things like that really did make a difference. But just having people around, even if I couldn't talk to them, was, I think, the biggest thing. Just being by yourself is definitely what makes it difficult because you're just stuck in your head. And
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to distract myself with. I mean, I had like Netflix and stuff that I would ask the nurses to put on, but eventually it got to a point where like I didn't want to watch anything, and I was just kind of stuck in my head. So having someone there, even not talking, just that company was very nice.
Yeah.
So did they have any let's jump back to, this day and then today, did they figure, I mean, we know what it is, but how was it caused? Just the flu? I mean, was it because you were out of the country? Did we get to the bottom of it?
So it was related to an infection, but I believe, because to be honest, I don't remember initially when they gave the diagnosis. I don't remember them talking to me about it because I was on the ventilator and I was out of it on a bunch of medications and stuff. So I don't specifically remember talking to them, but it was related to an infection. I believe it was a stomach bug that I got while I was traveling. So, completely unexpected. Didn't think anything like that would ever happen from, even a little bug or a little infection, which we get. We get the flu, we get colds, but we never really expect something like this to be something that comes after it. So that is, I'm pretty sure that's what it was that triggered the condition and the autoimmune side of it. But I also did have COVID prior, but a few months before, but they didn't say it was related to COVID. So it was something else, like a different bug or a different infection.
I'm just like in shock right now. Like just
So after you left the hospital, what did life look like then?
It was difficult. It was a big adjustment even coming back home. When I came home from the hospital, I was still fully dependent on other people for basically everything. So I was still doing outpatient therapy 3 times a week while I came home, and I'm still doing outpatient therapy, but less like once or twice a week now. So I had like all the equipment. I had a hospital bed. I had to get a stair lift installed because my room was on the second floor. So I couldn't go up the stairs, so I had to wait for the stair lift to be installed and using the hospital bed, using the, what is it called? The bedpan, because I couldn't go to the bathroom normally as well. So it was a big adjustment. I'm just sort of having to modify a lot of things in the home. Even getting in and out of the house, had to build like a ramp for the wheelchair. And it felt different because I did get used to being in the hospital because it was so long and I had help there. They helped with everything. So I got used to that and it was a big change relying on like my family to help with things and especially with the personal and intimate things like, bathroom and cleaning and washing, getting dressed. It's something hard to kind of accept when it's like your own family members doing it for you. Because when you're getting it from the nurses, then you sort of know that that's what they're there to do. But at home, it's a little bit different. But it was a big change, a lot of modifications, needed a lot of equipment, which I'm grateful for. I got everything that I needed, but it was a big adjustment.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Before I did this, I worked with guys with acquired brain injuries, and typically that's Sarah and I come from a place where the kiddo was born with it. You go into it. It's not like an instant life-changing situation.
Yeah.
It can take a serious mental kick. How did you stay positive?
That is still something I'm struggling with from time to time. I've gotten much better at it. Initially, it was that sense of losing my independence, relying on other people that sort of, it really kills your like self-worth and your confidence. And you do have that feeling of being a burden on people. And that really, really made it difficult to stay motivated and stay positive. But I am grateful, for having a strong support system around me, family members and friends that, they were there if I needed anything and that did sort of push me to, try harder in like physio and do as much as I can personally because I wanted to be in a position where I didn't want to have to rely on them and sort of be like a crutch, I guess, or a burden or have that feeling that I'm, sort of holding people back from doing things. That really motivated me to really try and keep pushing and keep doing as much as I can. So the people around me, just seeing them, seeing what they were doing for me, that was a big thing that kept me positive and kept me motivated. But apart from that, like a personal thing for me was writing. And I talk about this a lot, even in my TikTok videos and stuff that I share. Writing has been a big like a very good outlet for me in terms of expressing myself mentally. Because I am an introverted person. I do like struggle to like talk about things and open up to people. I've gotten better at it over the past couple of years, but writing has always been that safe space and that place where I can express whatever I'm feeling and not have to worry about negative judgment or not hearing the things I want to hear because it's just me pretty much talking to myself and it's a physical representation of what I'm feeling and I can always look back at it and if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm like, okay, I've felt this before. I've been through it before. I can get through it again. And it's a way for me to reflect and that really helps me get those negative emotions and negative thoughts out of my head when I don't want to like tell somebody else about it. So I think that has been the biggest thing that's helped me stay positive and stay kind of grounded throughout all this.
Awesome.
I'm just in awe right now. So I'm not usually a quiet person. So
Yeah, I'm kind of floored right now too, because I'm just picturing myself waking up tomorrow and everything's changed.
Yeah,
I know I'm so glad that you were willing to come on and really share your story. I mean, because I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure each time it gets a little easier, but it's not easy.
it still is because every time I talk about it, it obviously brings back like a lot of memories and stuff. And they're not always good, but I feel it is important to talk about it because the more I keep it inside, that's not doing me any favors. It's not helping me at all. So that's why I try to do it with writing. But recently I've been more open to, you know, I go on live on TikTok and I talk about my story, share it through my videos. That's helped me tremendously, and I'm super grateful just to be able to do it now. I never thought I would. I never thought I would be the person to put myself out there like that because I always kept it to myself. But I've learned that it's not only helping me, but it's helping other people that might be going through something similar.
I think that's admirable because it does take, we talk about it a lot between ourselves through community, is that, like I mentioned, it helps heal, but it also, you have to relive the trauma. And as I call them, triggers, and having to get into the space when the triggers are flaming hot, sometimes more than other times when you speak, and having to figure out how to navigate sometimes. And some days it's easier than others. And I commend you for continuing on, because having the space of being from one space to the next in a matter of a day is, I don't even know how to put into words. I mean,
It's hard to explain, yeah.
it's an out of body. I mean, I'm sure, you can't explain it yourself sometimes without just, man, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah, yeah. And at the same time, I'm at a position now where, before I looked at it as always a negative thing, and I was always like, why did this happen? Why me, sort of thing. You sort of ask those questions when you go through something like traumatic. But it's forced me to, like, I guess, slow down, and, being kind of stuck in my own body, it does force you to kind of sit with every feeling that you have. And you can't really distract yourself. You can't run away from it. You can't do something to get your mind off it. You just have to sort of embrace everything, the negative, positive, whatever it is. And I think that's been the greatest blessing, because before, if I was feeling a certain thing like frustration or feeling stressed out about something, I would find something to distract myself with. And that was a temporary solution. It doesn't fix anything. So going through this, just being forced to kind of sit with myself a lot, that has been a big blessing, I think. And I'm super grateful for that. I don't think I would have been able to learn it if it didn't happen, or maybe it would have taken me longer, but it's changed my life in a positive, for sure.
Isn't it crazy how I reflect some of the same ways that you just said? Is that, we go through that why me phase so many
Yeah.
times, and
Yeah.
you envision your life, whether like us as parents, us just as an individual, of what your future holds, and then just getting hit with, I call it the whammy stick, and
Yeah.
just, for better, sorry, I just have to say, fuck, I'm sorry. It just, and, you just really have to really look with different lenses at times and just go, wow, I didn't know I was ever going to put the fancy crazy glasses on as I look, because I like to wear the, as you demure, glasses.
Yeah.
Just navigate and makes you kind of sit out of pocket a bit.
It's a humbling experience, and I think we need to be humbled uh, at least once in our life. So it teaches us a lot.
It does. It makes you a stronger person mentally.
Exactly. Yeah. You learn to be grateful for a lot of things that you might not even think of, or, not appreciate. So it's really the little things that matter the most. And the saying, like, you don't know what you have until you lose it. I never really felt it before until this. So that's one of my favorite things now. I think about that all the time. And the little things, waking up, getting out of bed, getting dressed, and just doing whatever you want to do, that's something that we don't really think about doing. It's just something we do. And going through this, it's taught me to really appreciate those things a lot more, and I'm super grateful for that.
Have you noticed, since you've been navigating a new, as I like to call it, new glasses? You're going to wear the fancy ones, like I said.
Yeah.
Mirrors sitting on the shelf right now. However, your friends at the time that were there, are they still there? How has that all changed, or has it become stronger for those networks for you?
So I've had the same friends since high school, and I'm super grateful. It's been, we all live close to each other, so whenever I need them, they're there, and it has strengthened the relationship a lot more. We are more open to, like, talking about things, because before, I know, especially with, like, men, it's a thing where, like, you don't really talk about things with your friends. But after going through this, we're a lot more open to really talking about whatever we're feeling, or if we're not feeling good and we just need to spend time with somebody. You don't even have to talk, but just, sit with somebody. And I feel like it's really strengthened our friendship, our relationship. And luckily, I haven't really like lost any friends, because sometimes in these kind of situations, some people don't want to deal with it, and some people don't want to kind of be there to help you because it is a big thing to kind of manage and deal with. And luckily, have a strong friendship with my very small circle, very close group of friends, and I'm very grateful for them. And I think it's only gotten better since. So I can rely on them. I can trust them with anything that I need, and that's a blessing.
I like have so many questions.
I'll try to answer.
Just because, gosh, I'm sitting here looking and I'm like, I want to ask you this, I want to ask, but and at any point that if I'm like overstepping my bounds, just let me know because I will, I know that there's some places and some days you just don't want to go there, and I can totally appreciate that, and I just want to put that out there. But I love, you talk about getting humbled. I think humbling is a nice way of putting it, definitely. But when you finally do look at it from those positive eyes, when we take that nice word and really utilize it to its best abilities, is what have you taken from this in I mean, you mentioned about becoming more outward and speaking, but whether have you really gotten into like now you have this GBS? Has it really inspired you to kind of get more involved, learn more, and or connect with others just to kind of collab or you know?
Yeah, no, definitely, especially since I started posting on social media, that was sort of like the big or the first step in that direction. Because I do want to use my experience and like what I've learned and what I've gone through to also like obviously spread awareness. But because GBS is not very well known, I had no idea what it was prior to getting it. I never heard of it before. So after posting on social media, people have reached out to me and I've realized there's a lot of people out there that are going through it and they don't really know who to talk to because a lot of people just don't know about it. And especially when you're going through something like this, sometimes even like talking to your friends or family, they won't understand. So you don't want to talk to them. And sometimes you need to hear like something real and not just like, oh, you'll be fine, you'll get better. Like those sort of empathetic responses that most people do out of kindness, which is fine. But sometimes that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear the real thing. Like it's gonna be hard. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna feel like, I don't want to say
Yeah.
shit, but you're gonna feel like
Well,
shit.
you can say whatever you want, but
There you
yeah,
are.
like
Okay.
honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, the
You're
glad
gonna.
ending does
Okay.
is not productive. Like sometimes you just want to be hit with the sledgehammer and just like,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's okay. Like those are things that, are good to feel because that's just a part of the recovery process, a part of the healing process. And it's fine if you don't want to talk to people, if you don't want to hear the nice things. Like because sometimes they don't help. And that's something I've learned through this as well. A lot of times, people ask you, "Oh, how are you doing?" And you sort of just give "I'm all right," but because you don't want to tell them because you're like, "Oh, they're not going to know how to like properly respond to it." And so it's nice when you have somebody that has been through it or is going through it, they can kind of give you like a reality check and be like, "Hey, this is how it's going to be. You got to live with it. Like you got to deal with it." And that's been something that I guess I've been able to do after posting on social media, people reaching out to me if they have family members or are currently going through it themselves and they're like, we don't know who to talk to. Like it's a very isolating feeling, and I'm just super grateful to be in a position where people can reach out to me and I can try to give them advice or just answer any questions that they have and just, kind of give them like a real, I guess, how do you say it, like how like what they can expect and like how it's going to be for them.
Yeah, you turn into the guide, like,
Yeah, guide,
on you now instead of, you're switching roles, which is
basically, yeah.
you
And
too.
yeah, and I like when I was going through it, like in the very early stages, I wanted that too. Like I didn't know who to talk to about it. Like talking to doctors and nurses was fine, but like if you haven't experienced it, then it's not really like sometimes it just doesn't work. So just feeling that myself and knowing how isolating it is, knowing how helpless you can feel because of not having someone to kind of tell you exactly what it's going to be like or what to expect. It brings you down. It makes you feel like it's not going to get any better. It makes you feel alone. So social media has been a blessing, and I'm super glad that I started posting on social media and spreading awareness about it. And through that, I'm also now starting to work with the GBS Foundation of Canada. So going to be doing more with them, with events and like more through social media, even going into hospitals and like talking to patients and stuff like that, which is more like a hands-on thing that I really want to get into. Because doing it like virtually and through social media is amazing, but I want to be able to like, physically help somebody if I can and do more hands-on things, do more volunteering, setting up events, fundraisers, those type of things. So I'm really looking forward to that. I just started like the beginning of March, so it's something I'm super excited for. But also just I'm supporting like another organization. It's Muscular Dystrophy Canada, which is not what I have, but there's a lot of similarities with GBS and muscular dystrophy. The foundation has helped me during my recovery as well with certain things. So I set up a fundraiser for them. I'm going to be going to the walk and roll events that they have, which is basically like a fundraiser. And the GBS Foundation will be doing those too in the summer as well. So I'm going to be trying to go to as many as I can, which is a challenge for me, like walking, trying to kind of set those type of goals, walk as much as I can, and, doing it for a good cause. So that's something I'm looking forward to.
Do me a favor, let me know when those are going to be. I'm going to show up with my son in his Trexo.
Awesome, awesome. I know they host a lot of them like around the GTA, all over Canada, but I'll let you know with the
Yeah,
ones in Ontario. But yeah, that's something I've wanted to do for some time, but I just haven't been physically ready, even mentally. But this year, I've sort of set a lot of goals for myself that I want to do, even in the community. And a personal thing that I'm doing is I'm working on a book. So that's something I'm super excited for as well. Just sharing my experience, my story, my journey. Also, really unrelated to that, but like a poetry book as well. I want to include some of the poems that I've written while I was in the hospital, while I've been recovering, working on those things so people can kind of get more of a personal feel of what I was going through, what I was feeling during all of this.
Did you
A
ever
lot of
think you
things.
would be an inspiration to folks out there? Because man, you're inspiring me just to get off my, I'm dragging it. Like you're just giving me that inspiration that I need, just to
Yeah,
keep motivated on the regular because it doesn't take just someone that I have to have the same disease or anything. It's not about that. It's about just where is where is my headspace for that day?
yeah.
And I think, let me ask you this, and we've talked about, I want to ask you, mental health. How important is mental health along this with this journey?
I think it's the most important thing. I think it's more of a mental battle than it is physical. Like physically, it's very challenging. There's a lot of barriers that you have to overcome, but if you're not doing good mentally, you won't be able to push yourself to try the physical things or even, push your body to try to get up or walk or whatever it is that you have to do. It's, and the thing is like with the mental side of it, it's constant. It's like even when you're in bed or sitting down, whatever it is, you're always thinking about it. You're always going through things in your head. So I think the first thing that we always have to work on is our mental health. Find ways to kind of deal with the negative emotions, negative feelings in a healthy way. And that's still something I'm working on, but I think I've improved on a lot. But I don't think we always will, or we will ever like be 100% like perfect at managing our mental health. But we need to find ways to do it in a healthy way, healthy outlets, healthy ways to express ourselves and not just distract ourselves because distracting is just like a temporary solution, but we need something that we can do for our whole lives and something that brings us joy while we're doing it as well.
Totally well put.
Yeah.
yeah, you're a heck of a speaker there.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying. I've never been very good at like public speaking or like I hated doing presentations in school, but like it's something I'm working on. So thank
And
You're
you.
doing A
Thank you.
aces right now.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, hopefully one day if I do get to publish a book, or I will do it, but whenever that time comes, reading that in front of people, it's something I'm trying to like, get better at so I can be ready for that day and maybe do some more speaking and stuff, motivational speaking at some point in my life. That's something I would like to do.
I think you'll be quite good at it. You really you're poised. You put together your sentences properly, fluidly. I mean, you got it. I mean,
Thank
don't
you.
ever underestimate yourself. And I'm sure you're learning that even more every day. Just
Yeah.
when you think, I would have never spoken in front of everyone. And here, look at you doing it
Yeah.
virtually, let alone, but in person, but resonated with what you said. And I think is so vital. And however you navigate it is, I don't know what you would call, but like so important is whether it's, what do you want to call it, like a buddy system, like those initial times when you're in the hospital and being able to physically be in person with somebody.
Yeah.
Gosh, it is. It's like you said, it doesn't matter. I know that you were incapacitated at the time and unable to verbalize, but having someone physically sitting with you in your corner, whether it's holding your hand, just God, is that something that can be, worked on, or is that already being done? Do they do that stuff in the hospital for folks?
They do. I'm sure they do it now. I haven't been in the hospital for a while, so hopefully with the GBS Foundation and going forward, I'll get to kind of see more of how they do that. Because in my experience, it was during the COVID, so it made things a little bit more difficult to just let people come in and, just sit there or just be around you. But even after COVID, like when they did start to allow more visitors and stuff, they do have people like volunteers in the hospitals that are there for like moral support. It's not like, they can't be there for like a whole day or anything, but like a few hours or um, something like that throughout the day, which even that makes a huge difference. But I do know they do have those like volunteers that are there to provide that moral support, and I think that's crucial. Some things that you can't really get from, like medications or anything else. So I want to do that more myself because I know that's the most difficult period is, in the hospital. It's the most isolating part of any kind of health issue that you're going through is being there, being alone, being around people that you don't really know. But just having someone beside you, it's comforting and it makes you feel less lonely. So that's something that really, really, I feel like we need to push a little bit more.
I'm glad you brought that up because you don't need to have a deadly illness or anything to be vulnerable to loneliness and
Exactly. Yeah.
susceptible to it becoming a problem. And it's a big thing,
Yeah.
which goes hand in hand, obviously, with mental health. And Mark and I talk about it all the time. We talk about it with families. We speak to families every day, all day. You can hear it in their voices. I mean, and just taking the time and just stopping and hey, how are you doing? Do you have support? Is there something I can do? I mean, I know you don't know me, but is there, text me, hey, call me, but gosh, I'll never stop talking about mental health ever. It's so important.
It's really important because even like someone like me who was sort of always that person where like, oh, I'll keep to myself. I don't need other people around me to like make me feel better or, I don't need to confide in other people for things. But it does get to a point where like you can't really deal with things by yourself. And even if you're not like a very talkative person or you do want to just be quiet, but just having somebody there just in case, like if you do, get that urge to like, you want to say something and you don't want to say it to yourself, you want someone else to hear it. That makes a huge difference. So regardless of like what type of personality you have or if you're super outgoing or extroverted or introverted, just having that presence there in case you need it, it's like a safety net if you ever feel like you're kind of falling and you know someone's there.
Gosh. And you keep telling yourself you're not in public speaking. I'm like, I'm right, you're there. Public speaking 101.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
done.
Getting there.
No, you're there.
I'll let you guys know whenever I do my first
We'll be there.
Please do.
thing.
Please do. And if you need help getting anywhere in the door, let me know. I know a couple of guys who do this exact thing,
Yeah.
public speaking, and they can help you.
I'm doing something next week, not related to like my book or anything, but I submitted a poem that's in Cambridge. It's this organization that really like kind of pushes like local artists and local authors and stuff. So they're doing like a book with poems from local artists. So I submitted one and they'll be launching it next week and I'll be reading it. So that'll be like my first time doing like a public reading of something. So it's one of my poems that I wrote about like paralysis and that feeling. So I'm looking forward to that. And apparently the mayor's going to be there, so we'll see how that goes. But
Oh
I'm
my
excited.
gosh, how exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Congratulations. I mean, I know you're just meeting me for today, but I can already say, like, I'm proud of you. Like,
Thank you.
oh my gosh, it's
I
just
appreciate it.
a little heart melt, like, as like a mother hen, you're like, oh,
Mhm.
because it's just you're taking something so extraordinary and working it in such a positive manner for yourself, but also for others. Uh,
So did you do poetry like before all this stuff?
Yeah, I started when I was like 16, in high school. It was a completely like random kind of thing that I started doing. I didn't enjoy English class, to be completely honest. I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't even like reading. I didn't really put a lot of, I guess, effort into like English, but I was always good at writing. But I just never really put a lot of effort because I thought it was boring. Just a little backstory. It was for Remembrance Day. Our teacher was like, if you guys want to write a poem about Remembrance Day, you can. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it just for fun. I'll do it. And kind of it didn't turn out the way I wanted to because my teacher actually thought I copied it from somewhere. So she's like, "Did you actually write this?" I was like, "Yes," because I was that kid that didn't really put in a lot of effort. So she thought, well, maybe, I don't think you were capable of doing this, but it was sort of a backhanded compliment, and I just took it from there. I was like, you know what? Maybe it is something I can keep doing. And so that was when I was 16, and I was on and off for a bit. Like I did it every now and then, just sort of as a little hobby. And then over time, it sort of became therapeutic for me and a way for me to kind of express myself, let things out. And, I can always go back and look at those things. So, I have a sort of like a book of how I've been feeling over the past like 12 years. So it's been good to go back and read those things. And yeah, I really enjoy it now, and I want to use it to kind of share my experiences a little bit better. I feel like I'm better at putting it into words like on paper than I am in like when I'm talking. So I find joy in it, making it creative, making it rhyme, making it flow. It's fun. It helps me. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. I want to follow your story. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank
Is
you.
your page, so why don't you tell us where, so those that'll watch the podcast, where can people follow you? TikTok, IG, all that good place?
Yeah, so mostly I post on TikTok and Instagram. So whatever I post on TikTok, I'll put it on my Instagram as well. But like recently I've been sharing more of my poetry like through TikTok. I also go live on TikTok where I write a poem every single time I go on live. So I write it and then I'll read it on live as well. Sometimes it takes me like 2, 3 hours, but I'll do it. People enjoy that, and people give me ideas and stuff. I'll ask people for topics that they want to hear about or anything like that. So I'll make a list of things that people have told me, and then I'll write some things about that. But mostly, I post everything on TikTok about day in the life kind of thing of, living with a disability, and more on the mental side of things now as well. Before I didn't really dive into that too much, but recently I've been like, I want to kind of share more about how it feels internally rather than what it looks like on the outside. So TikTok and Instagram, the two main things.
Tell us your handle. How do they
Yeah,
find you?
it's just my name, so Navi, Navi, and then my last name RANU_.
Okay. Yeah, because Jasmeet found you and she's like,
Yeah.
I've got to chat with him.
Yeah, I remember she came in the live and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna send you a message about a podcast," and I was like, I got excited. I was like, "Oh, I haven't really done a podcast before."
Really?
I
Oh,
did a small one, but nothing like this. So it's my first time.
well, welcome. I'm glad we got you as a first timer.
I did look into like a couple more podcasts that you guys have done before, and I was nervous before coming on. I was like, let me see what kind of things to expect, but it's been nice so far, so I do appreciate it.
Honestly, thank you. It's your story that is why we're here in the first place. It's a good one.
Yeah, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing too. So I
It
hope that
takes
you
all
guys
of
can keep
us.
it up.
It takes all of
Yeah.
us. And it's, again, I always extend a helping hand. Mark, same thing. If you ever need something from us, by all means, you just chat. Oh, we're always here. It's not about as big as your tribe and your village. It's those quality. I tell that to people all the time, Mark. It doesn't matter how many people are in your corner. It's just what's quality and your go-to people, and that you have a safe space, because that's what's key and important every day of your life. Because there's going to be a day you wake up, you're like, oh, hell no. This is just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Life complete 180. So that's why we got to appreciate everything, because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So I've learned that, I guess. I don't want to say the hard way, but because it's been a blessing, but the hard way. But yeah, we got to appreciate everything.
We do. We do. Well,
All right.
we're almost ready to close, but I want to ask you one thing. What would you like people to take from our chat today? What's the most important thing you want people to know, either about you, about GBS, or just something in general that you think is so important that everyone should know about?
I think just in general, similar to what I just said, appreciating everything. And something that I guess I've been trying to like kind of do more is not wait for the right time to do something. And I've written about this before. It's, you wait for the right time, but time doesn't wait for you. And, don't wait until you feel like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it the next day or next week, whenever you feel like you'll be ready. But, you never know when you're going to be ready, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So take the chance that you have today and do whatever it is that you want to do. And yeah, just appreciate the opportunity that you have to try. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned. Just being able to try is the biggest, I guess, freedom that we have, and we gotta appreciate that.
You are a very wise individual.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Like beyond your years, and I commend you and tell you and encourage you, you're going to be a fantastic speaker.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I would have already thought you were now. I mean,
Sure. I'm gonna work hard on that. I really do want to do it. I want to get more comfortable with, talking in front of people. That's something I've always struggled with, but I feel like I'm on the right path and I'm getting there.
I think you are for sure.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you.
Yeah, you're gonna kill it. There's no question.
I will invite you guys. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, please
Front
do.
row seats. Front row
Always.
seats.
We'll be there. I'll come up for sure. I'm looking forward to watching your path and your journey and what you do, because you're going to do some big things, my friend. You really
Thank you.
are.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
Sounds like whatever you put your mind to, you're pretty successful. I'm gonna put my money on that one for sure.
I appreciate that. I'm honored. I'm honored. But I'm gonna definitely keep pushing and make the things that I wanna like dreaming about, make it real. And I want to continue helping people the best way that I can. So I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much.
Well, sir, it's been amazing, and thank you very much for coming in. It's been inspiring and eye-opening.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. I appreciate the opportunity and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and thank you so much for giving me the chance, and I wish you guys the best of luck too in everything. Keep doing it, and yeah, just I'm thankful.
So are we.
Oh my gosh.
Thank
So are
you.
we.
So
Thank you.
excited. Thank you so much.
Me too.
Yeah, and honestly, let us know when you're hopping up on that stage, because I'll be
For
there.
sure.
I know, for
For
sure.
sure.
We like to support and we want to. I mean, I'm anxious to hear poems. So I'm not even on TikTok. I'm like,
Yeah,
this old soul over here might be signing up for an account so I can follow and listen to some poetry, because I enjoy it.
I welcome you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
guys.
so much for your time. We totally appreciate it.